Residents of 2 villages in northern Kazakhstan have been struck by a strange sleeping illness since 2012. People would suddenly fall asleep during regular activities and remain in slumber for several days at a time. They would wake up with no memories of that period. Even pets fell prey to the illness. After 3 years of research, scientists figured out the culprit: an abandoned Soviet-era uranium mine in the area. Carbon monoxide and other hydrocarbons from the abandoned mine wafted into the air, causing oxygen levels to drop in the villages, and this ultimately led to the sleeping epidemic.
I never heard about this. I mean, perhaps this got out and I just wasn't aware. But anyway, that's absolutely frightening because, okay, first of all, I was like, doesn't sound too bad. I could do with a nap, you know? I wouldn't mind falling asleep any place, anytime, you know? I mean, I tend to, regardless. But anyway, this is way more dangerous than that. Anyway, you can die. This could have killed them. I don't think they're dead, though. They're just sleeping. How do you know, though? They could just be dead. They're dead, or it's like, I'm alive, but I'm dead.
I feel like I'm dead. I'm alive, but I'm dead.
I'm awake, but I'm dead.
For close to 40 years, the most peculiar thing has been washing up Brittany's beaches. Over and over again, locals have stumbled across bright orange, novelty Garfield telephones. Sometimes they're merely fragments and sometimes they're fully intact. Either way, it's a little weird, that's for sure. So where are all these cartoon cats coming from? As it turns out, back in 1983, a cargo ship carrying a crate full had one of its containers swept off. The container had become lodged in a secluded coastal 100-foot-deep cave under the cliffs of Plourzel.
A really strange discovery to make. Imagine just walking down the beach and you're just finding numerous Garfield phones. I mean, out of all of the kind of TV show characters to find, I find Garfield the most unsettling. I think it was ever since that Garfield SCP came to light, and I was like, oh, this I feel wildly uncomfortable now every time I see Garfield. He makes me uncomfy. I don't like him, and I don't want his phone. So I'm not going to that beach. I'm gonna make my own phone. Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Central Dark, your place for all things horror. I'm your host, Lisa McVie, and these are the top 10 scary unsolved mysteries that were finally solved. So they're not really unsolved anymore, but they were unsolved for a period of time, now they're solved. So, great. Lucky for us.
Sea monsters are a hot topic online, and what country is better known for them than Japan? Well, in 1977, a carcass of a sea monster was discovered by a Japanese fishing vessel in the sea. The fishermen caught the dragon-looking creature and took this photograph. However, they had to dump it back in the water as to not spoil the fish they were catching. It looks like a plesiosaur carcass. This was not a dinosaur carcass. It's actually more likely to be a decomposing shark carcass. The shark's sides tend to droop down, much like wings, and the amino acid in the water causes the bones to wear down too.
Okay, sure. I mean, I believe you. Maybe it's a shark. But I look at that and I don't think shark, even if it did decompose and start to sag at the sides. Also, wouldn't out of curiosity you think, okay, let me just dump the rest of these fish back and let's take this strange carcass that we don't really know what it is back to shore, see what's going on here, see what we've just discovered. Surely, I guess life's not really like a movie. In a movie that would have happened. Would have been groundbreaking. These people missed opportunity. It's a dinosaur for sure.
Back in 1845, English explorer Sir John Franklin set sail for Canada with 128 crew members and 3 years' worth of food. Franklin and his crew simply vanished without a trace. Multiple search expeditions were sent out, over 30 in fact. 14 years after the initial vanishing, the first bones were found. First, the ships became stuck in Arctic ice. Unable to free them from their entrapment, the explorers succumbed not to starvation or cold, but to disease such as tuberculosis. In 2014, a Canadian robot submarine located the wreckage of one of Franklin's ships under the Arctic ice.
Okay, I know this story. Yay! This is great, because this is what the TV show The Terror is based on. And I've watched The Terror, and I've been in the process of reading the book for quite some time, but I keep shafting it, unfortunately. It's a great story though. Yeah, the two boats, they were heading to the Arctic Passage, or trying to get there. Boats got lodged in ice, and then they froze to death and died, ran out of food. But in the book and the show, they obviously take it to extremes and say that there was some kind of creature. And now I can't remember the name of the creature, but it was very like giant polar bear meets abominable snowman. and then it killed everyone. I think the more realistic answer is that they just died because of starvation and freezing.
Years, dozens of planes and ships carrying thousands of people are lost in an area of the sea named the Bermuda Triangle. It's commonly thought that it's unknown what the reason for this is. A popular theory is alien abduction, as UFOs are sometimes reported by plane pilots before they vanish. So it can't be that. Well, little known research has concluded the real truth behind the Bermuda Triangle. The area actually has lots of air bubbles in the water. These can grow to massive sizes and then pop, destroying planes and ships alike. And of course, making them sink or fall to the depths of the waters. And as for the UFO reports, the UFOs are likely just the bubbles rising into the air.
Interesting. I actually didn't know there was a reason as to why people disappeared over the triangle. I just thought it was all theory, and I thought it was actually speculation that that's exactly where they disappeared. Air bubbles. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that that could cause disappearances into the ocean. I still think something great is at play here. Again, I'm going to circle right back to the movie Triangle. It's for sure, like, it's legit. The Triangle's about the Bermuda Triangle. And then there was a haunted cruise ship. There was a cruise ship! Oh my god, it all connects. All these unsolved mysteries that are now finally solved connect. There was a cruise ship, Bermuda Triangle, death. It was amazing.
Bigfoot is said to be a Sasquatch, which is a mythical and dangerous creature. It apparently resides in Yakima, Washington, and there have been reported sightings of him ever since 1811. The most prominent piece of evidence that leads some to believe that Bigfoot is real is this photograph. It's been featured in many documentaries, newspapers, and other studies about the existence of Bigfoot, but this photo was fake. It was taken back in the 1950s by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. The image is actually of their friend Bob Hieronymus in a suit. They publicly admitted it was fake back in 1964, but for some reason, the image is still evidence of Bigfoot's existence to some.
Okay, and well, I think we all knew that picture was fake. It was just as real as the Loch Ness Monster's picture, you know? They're all fake pictures, there's no real pictures. Bigfoot's not gonna let you take a picture. He's gonna get you before you get him. I don't believe Bigfoot, as in one individual entity, is real, but I do think there's giant creatures out there in the woods. There has to be. Like, this isn't a far stretch, I don't think. Like, I feel like this could be real. I do believe that there's, like, at least, like, larger creatures out there that maybe we haven't seen, or are similar in description to Bigfoot.
This ship is often referenced in popular culture. That is because it's one of the most puzzling and mysterious ships of all time. Since the 1700s, sailors have reported seeing a ship floating through the air. And thanks to this, the ship has been nicknamed the Flying Dutchman. Legend has it that the ghost ship is home to ghosts of anyone who has passed away at sea. But scientists have finally come up with an answer to this mystery. The sailors who see the Flying Dutchman are actually experiencing a mirage called Fata Morgana. It's an optical illusion that makes faraway ships appear to be floating, so really all the sailors are seeing are other ships. And it's simply an optical distortion that makes it look like they're floating.
True, I feel like I've experienced this with my own two eyes. Not the Flying Dutchman. And also, wasn't the Flying Dutchman in... Oh, no. I was gonna say, wasn't it in Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm quite literally thinking of the Black Pearl. Anyway, I've heard of the Flying Dutchman. It has appeared in, like, folktales. I feel like I've experienced that optical illusion. When I was home in Devon, one time, there were a lot of boats. And there was a cruise ship in the distance, and it looked like it was floating. But it wasn't, it was in the water. Or maybe it was the Flying Dutchman. Now I've really got to think about this. Maybe I saw a ghost ship.
Avro Anson plane took off from an airfield in Patricia Bay in British Columbia for a routine navigation exercise. Just after leaving the runway, the plane and the 4 men on board vanished. The Canadian military carried out extensive searches, but not a single trace of the plane was found. The Anson mystery carried over for 70 years before finally, in 2013, we started to uncover the truth. On Vancouver Island, a few workers from a logging company accidentally stumbled across the remains of both the plane and then one and then all of the passengers. While the cause of the crash is still fraught with uncertainty, poor weather is believed to have played a significant role.
Damn, it's like DB Cooper, except one man didn't disappear. It was an entire plane disappeared. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad they kind of figured it out now. I mean, there's not much to say about this one other than that sucks. I mean, I don't want to go down in a plane and I don't want to go lost. I don't want to go lost. I don't want to get lost. I found a tweet recently that was like, imagine being an episode on Unsolved Mysteries that people skip over because it's too boring. It's like, wow, lived and died for nothing.
In areas of southern Africa and Western Australia, there are circular patches of barren land surrounded by grass resembling polka dots.
Oh.
Dubbed fairy circles, the locals believe that these are footprints of God or other divine beings. Scientists claim that the most acceptable explanation comes from a computer simulation that found that the rings can be explained by using insect colonies and plant behavior. The simulation pointed to a species of termites that colonize by constructing honeycomb patterns in these areas and feeding on roots of grass.
It started fine, and then it just proceeded to get worse and worse. Okay, our computer simulation said this, and I was like, simulation? So you're saying this is a simulation? Ha, life is fake, nothing's real, we're in a computer game. Well, it's not a game. And then they're like, just kidding, it's insects. Ugh. And the idea of insects creating all these tiny little holes in the ground because they're nesting, it makes me feel physically sick.
In May of 1937, the hype around the Hindenburg airship was huge, but
Ooh, I
sadly
hate that.
failed miserably, exploding into uncontrollable flames in midair before crashing back down to Earth. Of the 100 people on board, 35 never made it out. Scientists had a number of theories, including lightning, explosive paint properties, and the possibility of a bomb on board. A team of experts came to the conclusion that either a faulty gas valve or a broken wire caused hydrogen to leak into the ventilation shafts. Meanwhile, the entire airship had been charged with static electricity from a thunderstorm. The static caused a spark, which ignited the leaked hydrogen and ultimately proved to be the disaster's catalyst.
It's very sad, especially if people died on board. That's definitely not the most ideal. This also reminds me of Bioshock, if anyone played that game, or Bioshock Infinite. But I'm not sad that those things don't exist because they're really, like, I feel the same way about hot air balloons. I find things like that very unsettling, and I don't know why. First of all, that is way too big, and if I saw that just floating, like blimps, I feel the same way about blimps. Too big, stop floating near me. Like, go float away, you know? Float away. So I'm not too upset that this is not a thing that we deal with in life, you know? Well, there we have it. Thanks for tuning into this video. I've been your host, Lucy McPhee. Stick around for bloopers. Also, I changed my setup because I was tired. My back hurts. I need to sit on a chair with support. Also, hopefully my mic's fine. This is the closest I can get it without it hitting me in the face. Where it's like, okay, our computer... Ugh, got hair in my mouth. You know what they say, big feet, big fur. I don't know.